let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 4 new coastal Christmas DIYs for you using supplies from the Dollar Tree. I really love how these turned out and I can't wait to show you how we put these all together. So the first DIY we're going to do today is the coastal coral Christmas tree I've been telling you guys about. So the first thing we're going to do is we need a base for our Christmas tree. I'm going to use one of these green floral foam wedges from the Dollar Tree. It kind of looks like a tree skirt, right? The shape of it. And it is definitely thick enough, I think, to provide a good base for the coral Christmas tree. Now it is green. I don't really want that to show through anything. And so I'm just going to do a quick coat of like white acrylic paint on this. Now, at first I tried to use like the thinner piece of white circular foam. It wasn't quite thick enough from the Dollar Tree, so I switched to this one, and this one worked really well. I just wanted something that I was going to be able to put the stick of the coral Christmas tree down into that's going to hold it up properly, and this did definitely work. You could always use wood too. You'd have to drill a hole in it though, but this is kind of a lightweight solution, but it did definitely hold up. Now, I'm going to make the coral Christmas tree. I need like a structure for the middle of the tree. I had some issues trying to figure out which way was the best way to make it. The first time that I did it, I used like some of those wood skewers that you use for cooking for the middle of the tree, these things. And it worked until the final piece, and then it was just too wobbly. So I'm going to switch it up to one of these metal yardsticks from the Dollar Tree. And I usually just take these little wire yardsticks off these anyway, because I usually use the things at the top for other DIYs, which is why I had this Christmas one. It can be any one, but I don't want it to be quite as long as it is, so I want to kind of break it in half. Now, this was a really strong wire. I just used my pliers and carefully like went back and forth until I can get that to break off. If you had some really strong wire cutters, they might work, but that's what I want, is a really strong base for the tree, and so this worked really well. I just didn't want it to be quite as tall as the yardstick itself was. So there is the base for our coral Christmas tree. Now I did make a Christmas wreath out of these little coral looking Christmas tree ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and I loved how it turned out, and you guys did too. So I wanted to make a Christmas tree version. I thought that would be really fun. So just putting the wire down in the center of our foam circle, we can start building our Christmas tree. I love these ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I get these every year. I try to stock up on them because I use them year round because they kind of look a little bit like coral. So this is what we've got going on right here for the structure. It's okay that the base is not painted great because we are going to make a little skirt and stuff on there. I was still a little bit worried about the stability of it though, so to make sure that it stays in there, I'm just going to put a little hot glue down into the foam as well to make sure this is rock solid. Now, my plan is to, put the coral ornaments down on there. It's going to kind of balance it out like weight-wise all the way around the directions, but these are the ornaments that I use. They are like white glitter. They're made out of plastic. They're easy to work with. And they have a little hole here for the ornament hanger, and that's what we're going to use to attach it. And then we're just going to break the stem off, each one, which is like the tree trunk, and easy to break with your fingers because it's made out of plastic. And my plan is just to slide these on See how it's like the perfect width, like that, instead of using zip ties. So I kind of need an area for it to stop, because I don't want to go all the way down to the bottom of the tree. And I also don't want you to be able to see like this black wire in the middle. So I'm going to kind of paint like a section at a time, with just a little white to make that blend in a little bit. Only doing a section at a time because when I put those down in there, it would scrape the paint off. And then just a dot of hot glue to give something like to stop on when I'm sliding that down the Christmas tree. So this is our first piece of coral. I'm going to slide it down until I get to that hot glue. That's also going to help glue that in place. And then we're just going to start building. I already had the trunk broke off of a bunch of these because I tried to make this the first time with the skewer. So I'm just going to do a dot of hot glue in between the pieces, and I'm going to slide the next piece of coral down onto it like that. And these are going to be like the branches of our Christmas tree. So a dot of hot glue, I'm going to slide the next piece, and I'm going to keep going all the way around the bottom layer of the Christmas tree until we get this full. I end up using 5 ornaments. So you get 2 in a package. So I'll try to keep track of how many we used here today. And that is what it looks like right now. They're all just kind of spiraled on top of each other, but it looks really cool because it looks like a bottom of a branch of a Christmas tree. So I'm going to just paint a couple inches of that wire again, and then do a dot of hot glue again so we can do another layer of our Christmas tree. And we're going to use the same size here, and we're just going to do another row of the Christmas tree. We will make them a little shorter as we go up the tree to give it that Christmas tree shape. So we have our second row started. Just touching up the paint a little bit there. A dot of hot glue, and we're going to slide it down, and we're going to just keep doing that, going all the way around with those little coral branches. I love these ornaments. They're my favorite for sure. My stores have been restocking them, so if you haven't been able to find them, try again. And so we're going to go ahead and do 5 for this row too. It's exactly like the bottom row. We did 5 full pieces of the coral ornaments. So we're up to 10 so far. So we're going to keep building the Christmas tree until we get to the top of the wire. So that's what it looks like at this point. The hot glue between the pieces helps keep it open. Otherwise, the pieces would kind of like just all fall around. I want them to kind of stay stationary. And so again, I painted the wire and put some hot glue, but this one I want to shorten it a little bit. And since these are plastic, they're pretty easy to break. I'm just going to try to break these off a little bit shorter. So I'll just have a shorter piece of coral, but I'll still have the ornament hanger on there. And a dot of hot glue, and we're going to just start building them like that. That's going to give it that like triangular shape, the Christmas tree shape, by having the branches towards the top of the Christmas tree shorter. And we're just going to fill this in as well. Just a dot of hot glue in between each piece. And at first I thought that maybe 4 was enough on this one, but I do go back and end up doing 5 like I did on the other one. So we're up to 15 ornaments so far for a Christmas tree. I tried to make this with as little ornaments as I could because I know sometimes they can be hard to find. So I just paint the wire again, do another dot of hot glue, and we're going to make these even a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go about halfway up the ornament and break them. If you can't break them, you can cut them with scissors too, but I almost find it easier to break them with my hands and cut them with the scissors. And this is going to be like kind of our top set of branches for the Christmas tree. And I don't think it's going to require quite as many. We're going to do 4 here. So that takes us up to 19. And I end up doing 1 more on the top. So that's a total of 20. So you're going to need 10 packages of these Christmas tree ornaments from the Dollar Tree. Now the one for the top, I'm just going to do it like, you know, like the top of a Christmas tree, a nice branch pointing straight up like that. and just glue that on to the metal wire that's left there that I did paint white because I want it to kind of blend in. So there will be a front to the tree. I thought about doing 2 back to back so there wouldn't really be a back, but the white bar does blend in well with the coral. You can't really tell it. And we have a Christmas tree. Now, the only thing I didn't really like was the wire in between each Christmas tree. I didn't think it looked that full. So I do have all those extra pieces of coral from when I broke off the ones in half and stuff like that. And I thought I would use some of those to like fill in the areas in between the different rows of the branches. I might as well use them since I have them, and it's going to give it a little bit more coral fun. I've been wanting to make a coral Christmas tree all season, so I'm so glad that I finally got it put together. Now, if yours don't fit, you can always break them down to size. I'm just going to try to piece this together, and just like the top branch, I'm just going to glue that on to the middle bar. Kind of all facing the same direction, which is kind of the front. This one doesn't really fit, so I'm just going to cut it and trim it down until it does. And we're just going to glue those. I'm not going to do it on the very bottom that goes into the foam, but I'm going to do it on all the different levels of the Christmas tree between each set of branches. And again, we're still at 20 ornaments because I'm just using the scrap pieces. Now, I was thinking about how I could decorate this Christmas tree. I was thinking about doing a starfish at the top, but I really love the simplicity of the coral. So I didn't want to go too crazy with the directions. You can decorate your coral Christmas tree however you want, but I thought we would do something really simple with this because I just love how it's looking so far. The first thing we're going to do is make a tree skirt. I'm going to use some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just wrap that around the base. The base was already shaped like a tree skirt, right? And so I am just going to cut off a piece big enough to go all the way around. And we're just going to glue that around. That way I painted, the base kind of white so it won't really show through this since it does have holes in it. And just do a very simple tree skirt. It might be easier to do this before you start building it, but I still have a little bit of room to work there. It's just kind of hard to show you. I just glued it together on the back, and we have a little tree skirt for our tree. Now, there is a little bit of room in there, and I thought it would be pretty to fill that up a little bit. And so I got some of that white sparkly fake snow from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to sprinkle that inside the tree skirt so it kind of looks like there's like a layer of snow underneath. And again, it might be easier to do this before you build the tree, that way you can kind of glue it down. But I'm just going to sprinkle a little layer of the faux snow in there. And we can start decorating our Christmas tree. I wanted to decorate the coral Christmas tree in seashells because I thought that'd be really pretty. I'm going to use seashells from the Dollar Tree. I really like these. They come in those little teeny tiny bottles at the Dollar Tree, and they're the white with the brown stripe, or the brown spots, I guess. And I'm just going to kind of glue those all around the branches at different depths, like they're alive, like they're like little snails or whatever, like crawling on the coral, and they've attached at different random spots. I do almost one for every single branch. Every row I skipped a random branch just to make it look a little bit more random. But we're just gonna keep gluing those all around, sometimes towards the end, sometimes in the middle, just kind of randomly spacing those out. And I love that I'm not really adding any color to it. I really like the simplicity of the white with a little bit of the brown coming in there. And that's basically all I'm going to do to decorate the coral Christmas tree. I'm not going to do any ribbons. I'm not going to do a starfish at the top. I just really liked the simplicity of this. And everybody in my family loved it. My husband's like, you could sell that for a lot of money. And let me show you how it turned out. Our little coral Christmas tree. I love it. I love, love, love it. And let me give you a closer look of our little coral Christmas tree here. And here she is. I love that I left it white glittery. It's very shimmery for Christmas. And I love the little shells all over. They're so simple, but so fun. And it's standing up pretty well. It's pretty sturdy. Hey guys, did you know that I had a second YouTube channel? It's called Crafty Little Beach, and it's all of my DIYs in 1 minute or less in case you need some crafty inspiration. They're all pretty much YouTube shorts, but I am doing a few beach videos over there as well. Okay guys, next DIY. I found this piece of driftwood at the beach the other day, and I thought we can make this into reindeer. So it's a pretty long piece of driftwood. You can use whatever you've got. If you don't have any driftwood, you could always use just some weathered sticks from your yard. And we're going to start cutting this down. I'm just going to cut it with my saw. I'm going to cut 3 small pieces like that. And then those are going to be the heads. And we're going to do 3 reindeer and then 3 like medium-sized pieces. And that's going to be like the reindeer body. We're going to use these little wood dowels from the Dollar Tree. There's 15 in a package, and I think I used all but 1. And these are going to be like the legs and the necks of our reindeer. And I thought we could really build some really cute reindeer. I'm also going to use those little ornament antlers from the Dollar Tree. Now, I thought the dowels were a little bit long for reindeer legs. For the size I'm doing. So I'm just going to go to my saw and cut them all down at once. But if you have like the miter scissors or some strong scissors, you can always cut these as well without a saw. So I cut them down just a little bit to size until I thought they would be great size for legs. And I have 12 of them because I'm going to do 3 reindeer. Now, I really want these to kind of blend in with the driftwood, so I kind of want to give it that driftwood feel. To get that, I am going to mix some Antique Wax by Waverly with some ivory paint, and we're just going to go over and stain all of these with that color, kind of wiping off the excess with a paper towel until I kind of have like a light wood stain that's going to kind of blend in more with the driftwood. Now, I also need the necks, and so I'm going to have to cut some more pieces. I need like 3 smaller pieces for the necks of our reindeer. So I cut these down to size, and we're going to do the same stain treatment on them, that lightened driftwood color. And just basically trying to stain the wood. Now, to give it a little bit of variation in color, I am going to dry brush over some Antique Wax by Waverly to give a very slight like wood grain to those, to give that final punch of driftwood. Okay, I think those are looking pretty good, so we can start putting our little driftwood reindeer together. I got like one of my biggest drill bits. It's about a little bit bigger than those dowels. And I'm just going to start drilling some holes in our driftwood for leg holes so that I can have somewhere to put the legs in there. Just trying to do it deep enough so that I can glue those in there fairly securely, like that. And that's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and do 4. Now, you're also going to need a hole for the neck on the other side. I wish I would have done it at this point. It would just make it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to do a dot of hot glue in each one of those holes and put our little reindeer legs on there. I thought about using a little bit of hot glue on those legs to make them look a little bit knottier, but I ended up just doing them as is, and they turned out really cute. So it's okay if they're not perfect because you can make your like reindeer be standing like in any position, but before your hot glue dries, you might want to straighten them out a little bit. So we have the body of our first one, and this one's kind of a weird shape. I'm going to kind of do the curve on the bottom, and just kind of driftwood is not supposed to be perfect, right? So just kind of wherever I can fit the little holes here for the legs. And I'm drilling those in. Had to break out the power tools for you. I'm actually doing these DIYs in Hurricane Nicole. We were lucky enough to only lose power 2 times briefly, and so I did have pounding on the outside of my garage door while I was doing this because I do craft in my garage. And this was a nice distraction away from the hurricane, but I know I have a lot of Floridians that are Crafty Beach Bums, and I really hope that you guys made it through the storm safely. So we have our second reindeer built, and here is the third. This piece is a little skinnier, but that's okay. I want all the reindeer to be unique. So we're going to go ahead and drill 4 holes and hot glue on all 4 legs, and we have the bodies of all 3 of our reindeer built. These were so much fun to put together. They're so cute. There we go. Now we can start working on our little reindeer head. So I cut these pieces down a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna drill a hole in each one of those for like the neck, which is those shorter dowel pieces that I cut out, kind of towards the end. Sometimes this driftwood like drills a little too easy because it's soft from the weathering, but sometimes they're really hard. It kind of depends on what kind of wood it is. Just trying to go deep enough so I can glue that in there pretty securely. And then just like the legs, we're going to do a dot of hot glue and we're going to glue those little wooden dowels into the little reindeer heads. This one that's real kind of gnarly looking was my favorite one. And so this is where I should have kind of drilled these holes in advance because I ended up having to kind of hold them and drill them. Probably be safer to drill those in advance when you're drilling the holes for the legs, but we're just going to do a hole in each end where the neck would come out of the top of the body there of the reindeer, and we can start putting these little guys together. Now, I also want them to have antlers. I got some of these. There's 6 in a package, so I really only needed 1 package. I don't know why I'm opening 2. I think I was kind of seeing if there was a left or a right, but they're all kind of exactly the same. And they're like white, glittery little deer antlers. And I thought we could drill some holes in our little head here. I'm just going to go ahead and use that same size drill bit and drill some holes for the antlers on the other side of its head, trying to get them fairly even. And I thought that the little branch to stick down in there was a little too long because when I go to glue them down in there, you can kind of still see that. So I'm just going to cut the little tip of these off about halfway to make them fit down in there nicer. And then hot glue those in. Now these are actually kind of like deer antlers and not necessarily reindeer antlers. And I really want these to look like reindeer. So I'll show you what I do here in a minute. First I just glue them on like that. But then I thought, what if I glue them on upside down like this? That's going to make them look more like reindeer-like, I think, than if I did them the straight way up and down. And so that's how I end up gluing them, just on there upside down, kind of going out to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other heads before I go ahead and attach those to the body of a reindeer by drilling 2 holes in the top of each one of them. And then we're just going to trim off the rest of these little antlers, and we're going to put them all together. This is so much fun. And some of them are split and super weathered, but it's just going to add more charm and character to these little driftwood pieces. And there we go. We have all of our little reindeer heads. We're ready to put the body completely together here. And I had already drilled the holes there. So for the neck, and I'm just going to put some hot glue in there, and we're going to glue these on. This is the step where you can really kind of give them personality. They can be leaning their heads any direction you want. I'm going to do them fairly straightforward like that. Making sure that I hold them until they dry a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and do that with the other 2 reindeer as well. I'm not going to decorate these too much. I thought about making some little scarves for them, but I kind of liked them better without. I do add a little detail here in the end, but I'm not going to do eyes or anything like that. I just want them to look very rustic, very coastal. Now this one was my favorite. I love the way that the driftwood looks. It looks like it has like a youngish like snout. And so I decided to make this one my Rudolph out of the bunch. I asked my son what was something creative like beachy I could do for like a Rudolph nose. And I'll show you what he came up with. I love getting suggestions from him. He has such good ideas. But this is how the little cutie looks so far. If you don't have any wood at all, you could also use those wood stems from the Dollar Tree and glue a couple together for the body. You can kind of get the same look, kind of effect. But I love the fact that these are just made from driftwood that I just found at the beach. So there's reindeer number 1, reindeer number 2, and reindeer number 3, which is my favorite because I kind of think it looks like he has kind of a cool little snout going on there. And his antlers are a little astray, which I kind of like too. So my son's idea for the Rudolph nose was to take one of these little tiny starfish that I get on Amazon and paint one red. And so that's what I did. I just grabbed one of those and used my red paint pen and painted that and glued that on to the tip of my Rudolph nose. I lost some footage there in the storm. But this is how it turned out, our little starfish nose. And that was a great idea. I loved it. And this is how it turned out, our little driftwood reindeer. You could do as many of these as you want. You could have like a whole bunch of them like pulling a sleigh. You could just leave them out for random decor like this. I think they're so sweet. What do you guys think? Hey guys, I would love for you guys to join our Facebook group. I'll post a link below. You're going to love seeing what all the Crafty Beach Bums are working on. Everybody is so creative. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest at Crafty Beach on YouTube, and I post on all of those pretty regularly. I would love to see you over there as well. Okay, this is going to be DIY number 3. I don't have these numbered today, but I still want you guys to vote in the comments below your favorite one. There's only 4, so it'll be easy for you to vote, and I would love to find out which one you like the most. This one's going to be a coastal rope angel. So I'm using some of this nautical rope from the Dollar Tree, one of these monkey jute balls from the Dollar Tree. They're called like monkey knot balls or something like that. And I am going to make an angel with one of those foam cones from the Dollar Tree. So they're not that big, the foam cones from the Dollar Tree. And so I think they're going to be a perfect size though. I'm just going to start by gluing the brown rope around the base of the cone. And we're just going to basically cover the entire cone with rope like you were doing a like rope Christmas tree. Basically the same thing. Now, when you put hot glue on the foam, it does melt, but I only really had to glue the bottom row, so it was okay. But you could always put like masking tape down or something if you didn't want that to happen. I'm just winding that as tightly as I can around, but one package is not enough. Whenever you're winding rope around stuff like this, it always takes way more than you think. So I'm definitely going to need to use 2 packages of rope to cover the body of our coastal angel we're doing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and I made sure that I ended the rope the same place that I started the first rope so that can kind of be the back of my angel. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue to start a second piece. And then when you get towards the end, you do have to hot glue it a little bit to itself and to the foam cone. And I'm just going to cut off a piece and just keep wrapping until I cover up all of the cone. That way I can glue the head to the rope and not the foam cone itself. For the head, I'm going to use one of these little jute balls from the Dollar Tree. And I think that's going to be the perfect top. Now I'm just going to kind of clean this up with my lighter, kind of burn off all the fuzzies on the rope cone and the rope ball. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that loop on there. At first I was going to cut it off, but then I was like, that would be the perfect halo for an angel. So I'm going to leave it on. And I'm just going to have to glue it on where that's going to need to be in the right place that I can make it into an angel for our halo for our angel. So I'm just going to hot glue that on, trying to leave time for it to dry because I don't want this falling off. Trying to secure that as much as possible. I also wanted to do a little lace trim, and I found some of this white lace crochet at the Dollar Tree, and I thought we can make just like a little collar for the angel. And that's going to help reinforce keeping the head on this because I don't want it to fall apart. So I just cut a piece of that lace crochet. And we're going to hot glue that to both the head and the body of our angel. And that's just going to help reinforce it, but it's also going to give a little decorative touch here to the top of our angel. I thought about making her a gown out of burlap, but I ended up deciding just to leave it as is. I really like the simplicity of the rope for the body. Now, I want the top of that to look like a halo. Right now, it's sticking up like a big loop, right? So I thought if I use some of this wire jute from the Dollar Tree, we can make this where we could shape it, and that's going to blend in with the rope, so you're not going to be able to see it too much. And I cut a piece to size, and I'm just hot gluing that to that loop so that we can shape this into a halo. I probably should have cut it a little bit longer because it didn't really sit down as far as I wanted. So I just cut off another piece of that wire jute to finish off the circle. And just glued that to itself. And that helped me bend it down a little bit so it's not sticking like straight up like a circle. I want it to look like a little halo like above its head. And that worked. Just gluing that all together a little bit there in the back. And we have a halo for our little rope angel. I think it's so cute so far. Now, the only thing we have left to do is we need angel wings. And you'll see that I have some of those gnome stockings from the Dollar Tree. I love the white fluffy beard, and I thought that would look feathery, kind of like angel wing-like. And so that's the fabric I'm going to use. If you don't have any of these, you could also use like those little microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree, but those are a little bit messier to work with. Whatever you've got, you can make angel wings with. It's just going to need to be shaped like an angel wing. I'm just using my heat gun to take the beard off. I love to buy these at Christmas time because I love to make gnomes with these. They're the perfect gnome beards and so easy. Be careful though, as you can see, if you get your heat gun too close to that fabric, it just melts. So I'm just going ahead and pulling both of those off. I only want the beard. I don't want anything else. And we have 2 pieces of white fur that I think are going to be perfect for angel wings. I just need to shape them up a little bit. So I just went online and tried to look like a angel wing shape up, and we're just going to try to sketch that out. I always have trouble trying to make the angel wing shape, but it really wasn't that hard. I just kind of looked at it and like I'm just going to use a Sharpie to kind of freehand that angel wing shape onto one of them, and just using my fabric scissors to trim that out. And I think that looks pretty good, like an angel wing shape. Now I'm just going to need a mirror image of that for the other side. So using that one as a template, I'm just going to sit it on like back to back like that, so it'll be a reverse image. And again, just using my Sharpie to draw on the back a little pattern. I'm using most of the beard. It's going to be a nice large angel wing for both sides, and then trim that piece out as well. And we're going to have a set of angel wings. I was having a hard time figuring out what I was going to use for the wings for this, but this just worked perfect. I even thought about using some of those coral ornaments, but I didn't really think it was going to give me that angel wing look. So now we just need to attach this to the back of our little coastal angel. I'm just going to attach it to hot glue with hot glue here on the back and kind of overlap those a little bit, peeling off any like hot glue on the back that's going to be, you know, visible from when it was glued onto the stocking. And now at this point it's pretty, but the only thing is they're a little too floppy. They don't really want to stand up and out like I want them to for angel wings. So I'm going to need to shape that a little bit more. I'm going to use some more of that wired jute from the Dollar Tree that we used to make the angel stand up. And we're also going to use that to make the angel wings like stand out. I'm just going to glue that onto the back of our angel wing so you don't really see it. But This actually worked really well, and I did lose a little bit of footage. Again, I was doing this in Hurricane Nicole, so we did have some power outages. So I'm just gluing that all around, kind of bending it as I go. And this was just a loose piece of this I had, but it was actually long enough to go around. And see how it makes the angel wing like stand up? It is definitely strong enough for this. If you made your wings out of something else, you might need to not need this step. But again, mine were just a little bit floppy at this point, and so they just needed a little bit of structure. So I'm just going to hot glue that all around the edges of our second wing here. And I wanted to get this video out to you guys. That's why I was crafting during the hurricane, because I know a lot of you guys were waiting for that coral Christmas tree. And we're just going to go up and finish it here in the back. I just kind of did like a figure 8 pattern on those. And that was the perfect final touch, because now my angel wings stand out perfectly on the sides. I thought about adding a seashell or something to the front, but I really like the simplicity of her, and so I left her as is. That little bit of trim around her neck was a perfect decorative touch. And here is our little coastal rope angel in all her glory. I think she's so pretty. I know I have a lot of angel fans out there, so I hope you enjoy this DIY. And it was actually pretty easy to put together. Okay, here's our fourth and final coastal Christmas DIY today. We're going to make a shell tree, and I wanted to make it into a sign. So I'm using 2 of these wood signs from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to put them together to make a larger sign, which I love doing with the Dollar Tree signs. And I love that they are, you know, just plain wood, so I can make this really beautiful. Now, they are a little bit warped, as Dollar Tree signs can be. And so to make sure they are flat and lined up perfectly, we're just going to make some structure on the back with just some Dollar Tree popsicle sticks. I am just going to hot glue those onto the back. And I'm going to add a lot of them, just every couple inches to make sure it lines up. Everything's square, everything's flat, and it's going to give me a great base to work with, and it's going to definitely keep these 2 signs together. So that looks good like that. We can flip this over and we can start painting it. I want to paint it, but I also kind of want to stain it because I really want that wood look to shine through. I'm going to mix half Caribbean blue, half ivory together. It gives me this really light beachy blue. If you want to just have a color that's that color, there is an apple barrel paint at Walmart that's called Cloudless. That's really similar to this color. And we're just going to go over and do like a sloppy coat all over just to cover the front of our sign. I want to cover the sign with seashells to make it look like a Christmas tree. So once you get it all on there, I'm just going to go over that with a paper towel. It's going to wipe that down into the grain, and so you can still see that pretty wood grain. It's almost giving me like a stain effect instead of a painted effect. And I am having to get the paint out of the holes here at the top because it did kind of blend down in there a little bit. But it gave me a nice beachy distressed look without really having to distress it anymore because I have the wood grain. Now these are just Dollar Tree shells. I just picked out scallop shells that were all kind of the same color scheme and size. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 on the final row. And kind of build a Christmas tree here out of seashells. So easy. You could do this with any kind of shells. I really thought the scallop shell looked really pretty for this. Then for the bottom of the sign, I thought it would be nice to have a word. I'm going to use some of these galvanized metal Christmas words. For this one, I'm going to use the word peace. It fits on here perfectly. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it that galvanized metal. I'm not going to paint it. I think that looks really nice for a coastal finish as well. And so it's time to just start putting this DIY together. For the scallop shells, I am going to just use hot glue. I'm going to put glue along the base of it and then just the top rim. And that way I can like attach it with the side. Just trying to make sure I keep it in a straight line. Just kind of spacing those out. The center one kind of in between the 2 signs, so I know that that's centered nicely. They're not all the same size. And you know, some of them are broken, and that's okay because it kind of adds to the coastal feel. And we're just going to keep gluing these on one row at a time, trying to keep my rows relatively even and the spacing relatively even between the different shells. And we're going to keep building this up. I do want a little bit of space left at the top because I want to do like a starfish for the star tree topper on our little Christmas tree. And this DIY was so easy to put together, and it's so pretty. So I'm just going to use one of those Shore Living white plastic starfish from the Dollar Tree. You can use whatever you have. I stock up on these all year when they come out in the spring, summer. And then piece at the bottom. But I do want it to have like a tree trunk, so I'm just going to use some of this Driftwood filler that I get at Target. I picked out a very small flat piece of that. I thought that would be a really cute little Christmas tree trunk. So first we're going to hot glue that here where the two signs come together. And that leaves me just enough room for that little peace sign for the bottom, which I think is the perfect final touch for this DIY. Just using very thin strokes of hot glue on there. I don't want any really seeping out when I glue that on. And I don't have any problem hot gluing the metal on. It's just that you have to kind of work quickly and get that on there right away. And then I just need to make a new hanger. I'm going to use some of this brown and white baker's twine that I got at the Dollar Tree and just kind of feed that through from the back. I did have a little bit of paint still in the hole, so just cutting off the end that got any paint on there. I like to tie mine on the front. I find that it hangs straighter against the wall when I have it tied in the front whenever I do a rope hanger. I'm just going to leave the holes for the other two signs together open like that. I think it looks fine, and this is how it turned out. Our little seashell Christmas tree sign, so easy and so beachy. I think it's so cute. You could put a little lights in there if you wanted to drill some holes in the back as well. That would be really cute. But this is how it turned out. It's simple, it's beachy. It's that beachy blue stained wood with our seashells. It's shaped like a Christmas tree. Hey guys, I wanted to give a huge thank you to the following Crafty Beach Bums for sending me super thanks underneath my videos and for sending me super chats when I do a premiere. I hope I can premiere this video. It depends on if I have enough time for uploading. But I love to chat along with you guys when the video premieres, and also for these Crafty Beach Bums for buying me a coffee. I always have a link in the description below. And it's time for the final reveal. Don't forget to like, comment below your favorite DIY, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you want more Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy this video right here.